welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have going over every WrestleMania 41 feud and storylines as of right now. So yeah, obviously the past few weeks have been kind of getting a little bit better and better. Obviously we're recording this on the 3/31 episode of Raw, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. And yeah, this Raw was very good, kind of helped build some storylines, and
yeah, we've been having pretty good stuff on some things, not so good stuff on other things. But you know, we're gonna start here, and we're gonna start off with probably the biggest thing that's going on, probably the most positive storyline that there is to talk about within the WWE right now, and that is Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Now, obviously, some people might say this started all the way at Bad Blood, where The Rock comes out, he does the big countdown thing at the end of the show or whatever. And maybe it started there, but the big thing is it started at the Royal Rumble, where Cena ends up losing to Jey Uso, obviously letting Jey Uso move on to WrestleMania. We see The Rock come out. He tells Cody that, you know, he wants to make Cody sell his soul to The Rock, and so he wants to his option to be said at Elimination Chamber. So we get to Elimination Chamber, and we see the big heel turn from John Cena after he obviously wins the Elimination Chamber. And now we're at where we're at, where we've seen them feuding back and forth basically every Raw since. And now we've gotten a little bit of physical contact this week from them. But what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think overall it still doesn't feel like the biggest thing ever. Like, I feel like it's not as big as it maybe should be. Like, this is John Cena, one of the goats of all goats, and Cody Rhodes, one of the top guys in pro wrestling right now, and it's probably one of the top money makers in the company's history. But saying that, it is still pretty good. Like I said, this week was a very good episode of Raw. The interaction between the two were finally, it felt more brutal, more personal. But yeah, I think they're almost holding back a little bit, which I don't know why they would be doing that, because we don't know when John Cena's going to be back now. We knew he's going to do the 3 dates on the European tour, but now that they're going back to the States, we don't know when his next confirmed date is. I assume he'll be back there, at least on the Go Home Raw. But yeah, I wish we got a little bit more from him, a bit more personal, a little more intense. But if I had to give a scale, I'd probably get like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. But yeah, I think obviously the expectations also aren't lived up to either.
Yeah, I wish we got a little bit more fighting. Obviously, we've seen John Cena brutally attack Cody Rhodes at the Elimination Chamber, so it's kind of weird that Cody never tried to do anything to him in any of these builds. Even in this week's Raw, he never tried to attack him until Cena went for it first, and he kind of defended himself more than anything. But yeah, that's pretty much the build for that one. I'll kind of agree with you. I rate it a little bit higher. You said 6 out of 10. I would probably say maybe a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for me. But moving on to our Women's SmackDown World Championship, we have Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. This is the match that everybody wanted before Charlotte won the Royal Rumble. However, when she did win the Royal Rumble, a lot of people soured on it a little bit. They wanted the match at Mania, but not like that necessarily.
Yeah.
That everything post Royal Rumble has been kind of little promos here and there, beatdowns here and there recently. Charlotte just kind of cooked Tiffany Stratton in like a one-on-one segment together, and that's kind of got talked about a lot online. And yeah, it's kind of been looking a little rough for Tiffany Stratton recently. However, I do think the match will deliver at Mania, but the build to it hasn't been what people wanted and how good it should have been, considering this is literally the match that everyone wanted, but now people are kind of turning on it.
Yeah, I get the storyline is kind of like veteran in Charlotte Flair. You know, you can have an argument that she is the GOAT of women's wrestling. Then you have Tiffany Stratton, the up-and-comer, who's kind of going to be the one to kind of take her place in a way, the agile, high-flying type of girl. But the way they did it, it almost feels like Charlotte's trying to like bury her in a way, and it's less of a, maybe that's just like how they're doing it. It's maybe kind of what I wanted from the Cena and Cody one, but for this one it doesn't really make as much sense. But yeah, it just feels like Charlotte's just trying to one-up her in like a different way, in a non-wrestling, you know, TV way. But yeah, the storyline itself isn't bad, but just the way they've done it and tried to execute on it hasn't been the greatest. I wish Tiffany got a little bit more of a like a, oh, she does have a chance, because right now I'm like 100% sure that Charlotte's gonna win at Mania, and I kind of figured that anyway. But at least let Tiffany have that chance, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards. I do think Tiffany will still end up coming out on top, because of how everything's coming. I feel like they're kind of maybe not letting Charlotte bury her in a way, because I don't think that's what they want from all of this. But I do think that they want Charlotte to kind of go at her pretty hard to kind of make the Tiffany win mean a little bit more. It's like she talked all that stuff, but Tiffany was able to kind of back up the little bit that she said rather than the whole lot that Charlotte said. But yeah, so if I had to give this one a rating, once again, I guess we'll keep doing that, but I'll give this one probably about the same as Cody Cena, almost, honestly, just because I'm a little bit excited just for the match. I'm not as down as much people are. I'm not gonna give it as much. I gave the Cody 8. I'm gonna give this I'll probably give this a 6.
Yeah, for this one, if I had to give it a rating, probably around the 4 or 5 range, just because I had high expectations for what this should have been. But yeah, I do agree that the match itself is kind of carrying my hype for it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this one, our next one, not too much to talk about. This is our Raw Women's Championship. We have Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca. This all started, I guess you could technically say, in the lead up to Elimination Chamber, where we've seen Io Sky and Liv Morgan go one-on-one. Rhea goes ringside to kind of help Io Sky, but ends up hitting Io Sky, costing her. Liv Morgan gets in. Io gets mad. Rhea just gives her a title shot after Elimination Chamber. She loses her belt to Io Sky, and that kind of is where we're at now. Bianca wins Chamber. Io Sky becomes champion. Rhea wants it back, and it's not confirmed that it's a triple threat match, but all signs are pointing towards this still being a triple threat match.
Yeah, so for this one, again, I feel like the story itself isn't that bad. I feel like, again, the execution hasn't been the greatest. I don't like that the champion in Io Sky is kind of, being kind of like pushed to the side, and like it feels like more of a Rhea Ripley Bianca Belair feud, and then Io Sky's just there, where I feel like Io Sky should be the one, should be the more focal point of the feud. And also, there's not like a real heel in this feud either, which is kind of weird. Like, you have Rhea Ripley, who kind of can't be heel, but probably should be the heel in this feud right now. But Io Sky's super beloved and Bianca's beloved, so it's kind of hard to see who is the real heel, who's the baby faces in this match. Obviously, you can do 3 baby faces, but it tends to not work a lot of the time. But this is, again, in a way similar to Tiffany's show, but a little bit better, where the match itself is going to carry a lot, I think.
Yeah, obviously, you could just say everything would have been better if Io just won the Elimination Chamber, and that way it would be just Rhea, Io, and Bianca could lose, just lose. It is what it is. However, that didn't happen. We are, where we are with this triple threat match. I don't mind it too much. However, I do think that, a lot of people are complaining about the multi-man match part of WrestleMania, because we're going to talk about a lot of multi-mans coming up, because we think that's kind of the direction of some of these matches. But I don't mind this one too much in particular. But moving on to our Raw Intercontinental Champion. Now we have Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Another match that's not confirmed, but it seems like this is the direction we're going. Another multi-man. Obviously, Braun Breaker versus Penta. Braun Breaker and Penta just went against Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. Where we've seen Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor come out on top after Braun Breaker spears Penta.
Yeah, so for this one, I kind of do like it in a way, even though it feels like there's no real direction. It's kind of like things are just happening and they kind of just leading into one another. But honestly, I kind of do like this feud. It's probably one of my favorite ones, just because it's a big moment for a lot of these guys. Braun Breaker's obviously a super young wrestler right now, but is in a pretty big spotlight. He's pretty much featured on Raw weekly at this point. Penta just getting to the company has been having great matches every week, it feels like. And Dominic is still young. He's kind of almost a little bit added in a weird way, but he has a storyline going with Finn Balor, who this could be a big moment in like a changing direction of his, the later end of his career. But yeah, I think it's been pretty solid and probably one of my favorite feuds, and this is a match where I could see still in the show of the night.
Yeah, I feel like all these people deserve their spot on Mania. Obviously, Finn Balor deserves his spot in a kind of different way. It's like he took all these losses, like you deserve this for kind of helping everybody else out, on the road here. But yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think no matter who wins in this match, you can't really go wrong, and I think the match quality will deliver because we have people like Penta, Braun Breaker, Dominic, and Finn Balor. Like, all of them are at the very least pretty good in the ring. But moving on to maybe the most hated match on this WrestleMania building, that is Gunther versus Jey Uso. Obviously stemming, I guess you could say, from Saturday night's main event. However, it really stems from the Royal Rumble win of Jey Uso, and Gunther kind of sticking to his word and saying that he's gonna terrorize Jey Uso for the next 10 weeks, and he kind of lived up to that hype, especially after this Monday Night Raw, where we've seen him kind of tie Jey Uso down to the ropes, beat up Jimmy Uso for a while, make him actually bleed on Raw, which we haven't saw in a while. But yeah, pretty good build, but it's been pretty much beat downs. A lot of people don't like it. Obviously, the big spot where Jey Uso slipped off the top rope, didn't make it, fell on his head, and then a few other things from Jey Uso that were maybe not so great to everyone.
Yeah, so when the feud originally started, I will admit that I was getting interested in it because it looked like, Gunther was just gonna truly just beat him up more and more and get progressively worse each weekend. But there was a few weeks where they did that for like 3 or 4 weeks, but then there was like a 2-month, or not 2 month, but 2-3 week break where they kind of were barely featured together. But now, after this past Raw, I did kind of get more back into it. Gunther making Jimmy bleed, having Jay tied up in the corner, and then just making him watch while he just keeps beating up on his brother. Was kind of cool in a sadistic way. But yeah, this one, it just still feels like one of those things, although I've accepted it now and I'm not mad at it at this point, but it just feels like Jey Uso is still the right person, but it's at the wrong time still. But at the end of the day, the feud isn't awful. It's definitely better than what I expected, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, the delivery in the build hasn't been great at all. I haven't really liked it. Hasn't been too interesting outside of this week's Raw. But I think the match will deliver at the end of the day. The moment will be big once he does win, or if he does win, I guess. But yeah, I'll give this one like 5 out of 10. It's kind of whatever to me. Either way, I don't really care who wins in this feud necessarily. But moving on to some more SmackDown feuds, we have the big Jade Cargill versus Naomi feud. Obviously, back in December, we seen a mystery attacker who took out Jade Cargill and threw her through the real glass car window. Was it Jack Perry? No, it wasn't. It was Naomi. She ended up being the attacker. We found that out at Elimination Chamber, where Jade Cargill makes her return, attacks Naomi using the door of the Elimination Chamber, kind of slamming her with that door. Really cool attack from her. Really good moment there. And ever since then, we've been getting beat down from Naomi. We've seen Jade Cargill have a few matches as well. But it's been pretty interesting since Elimination Chamber, at least.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the better feuds in the short amount of time that it's had. They did a really good job on kind of building it up. I've loved the character work that Naomi's been doing. I think she's been a great heel since doing it. Jade Cargill is kind of, it seems like they're kind of giving her more reps right now to kind of, when it does get to that Mania match, where I'm assuming it's going to be the one-on-one match. It should be, she should be ready. Should be kind of, have all her moves kind of laid out and know what she wants to do, and then hopefully they have like a great match, which I can definitely see them happening. But yeah, I definitely love this. I think it's as long as they continue to build on it, maybe get a bit more intense with each other, I can see this being one of like the underrated matches on the night.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this build about a 7 out of 10, right under Cody and Cena. It's been great for me, and I think there's definitely a world where both of these women could come out amazing, because obviously you could have Jade Cargill as this big baby face that everyone loves, almost in like the Bianca kind of spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Naomi, who she could come out as this huge heel, and at some point she could always turn babyface again, because she's Naomi. Everyone loves her at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But I think that both women could come out on top in this one. Now, another one that might not be too much liked here, and that's AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Not much to talk about here. They just kind of called each other out once or twice. And it looks like they're just giving Logan Paul just another safe opponent in the ring to make him look good.
Yeah, this one obviously is going to be one of the lowest rated ones just because there hasn't been anything. We have this a little bit on this Raw, but again, it just is a nothing feud. It's just still so crazy to think if you were to talk to somebody in 2013 that Logan Paul is going against AJ Styles, the Vine guy, versus one of the top wrestlers in TNA and on the Independents. Is they're going to have a match at WrestleMania. It's still crazy to me, but yeah, the match itself should be good, but it just Logan Paul kind of needs a story, and they haven't done him justice with this at all.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of just a safe opponent to make Logan Paul look good. Logan Paul is good in ring, however, I'm never gonna give him full wrestler's credit until he's wrestling on weekly TV versus not the best people in the world.
Yeah.
When you're wrestling Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, they're all safe matches. I want to see him versus other people in non-safe situations. But moving on, we're just gonna talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Champions here. Just kind of a lot to talk about with here. Obviously, it started with DIY and Pretty Deadly kind of working together to take over Motor City when they kind of came into WWE. Quickly won the Tag Team Championships. DIY do win it. Turning basically on Pretty Deadly in a way, and now Pretty Deadly became #1 contenders. The Street Profits won the tag titles. Los Garza got involved in bits and pieces here, and now it looks like we're heading to at least a 3-team match at WrestleMania between the Street Profits, DIY, and Motor City. Maybe even adding Pretty Deadly and Los Garza as well.
Yeah, this match, it feels like it's kind of going to play the role where the multi-man tag team match has been played, where it's kind of like, it's going to be the first match of the night, but it's going to be one of those early matches to maybe like wake the crowd up and be like a surprise banger, because all the people involved in this match are great, and I definitely think it could be one of those like, damn, it might only get 10 minutes, but it's going to be a fun, exciting 10 minutes. But yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of been a little bit hectic, but in a good way. It's given the tag team division something in a very lackluster time period in tag team wrestling right now. But yeah, not too bad. Yeah, I just want to see more of it, I guess, and hopefully get more clear direction before Mania, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of wish we just got the one-on-one with Motor City and DIY. I feel like that would have been a little bit better. We seen it didn't really pay off with their 2 out of 3 match at the Royal Rumble. It just maybe it's a place on the card, maybe it's the fact that it was the Royal Rumble, maybe it was the match wasn't too good, and the fans were right for once, which we never are. But yeah, I don't know, that match didn't really pay it off as far as like their singles feud to me. And then you kind of involve the Street Profits in that match as well at the end, and then since then we still haven't really gotten a one-on-one just straight up match between the two. So I would have rather that, but I don't really mind the Street Profits being involved in becoming tag team champions because they do deserve that spot as well.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on to the next one, we have Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. This one feels like it's still not confirmed, but obviously everything is kind of pointing towards it. People are saying it backstage and stuff like that. And really, it kind of is just now starting this past Friday. They had the segment where Damian attacks them and they go through the real glass. He gets real glass in his eye. But yeah, this feud, it just feels like I wish Drew and honestly Damian kind of got a better spot. I feel like this is kind of like, how can we get these two guys who deserve it onto the card? Just put them together, but it feels like nothing's at stake because nothing is at stake. Maybe they get a stipulation, which would be nice. Drew be like a stipulation type of guy, which I wouldn't mind, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it is what it is. The Friday promo or vignette from Drew McIntyre kind of made it all make sense that Damian Priest was kind of behind everything that happened. Obviously it had CM Punk involved as well, but Damian Priest was always lurking around the corner with the Money in the Bank briefcase, sneaking wins, just different ways, and kind of helping go against Drew McIntyre, I should say. So yeah, I like the vignette from this past Friday. Made everything make a little bit more sense. I do think the match will be pretty good at the very least. But I'm not too excited for it. I'll say this is definitely going to be on the lower end of my excitement levels for WrestleMania.
Yeah, for me as well. If I had to give it a rating, probably like a 4.3 out of 10. If I had to give it one.
Probably the same.
And then next up, we have Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. And yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, obviously we've seen this built from, I don't even remember when it was exactly, but Kevin
Chamber, I guess. Probably
yeah,
the
well,
start point.
before that, I guess the package pile driver to
Yeah.
Randy Orton, wherever that happened, I don't remember. But the package pile driver takes Randy Orton out for a while. And then at Elimination Chamber, we see his big return. He comes out, goes for the punt on Kevin Owens at the end of his match. However, it gets broken up by all the security, the referees, and all of that. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be getting at WrestleMania. That's going to be what everyone is looking forward to, is the big punt. I am kind of excited for this match. I'm not a huge Randy Orton fan, but I am a huge Kevin Owens fan, and I think this will be a really good match. I think Kevin Owens is someone who Randy Orton will mesh really good with in ring.
Yeah, I feel like this match itself is going to be pretty good. And it's kind of just, a simple of what's the most deadliest move in wrestling right now or in WWE. Is it the package pile driver or is it the punt? So it should be fun. And yeah, I think the build's been solid. Again, I wish there was more at stake, but I get that there's only so many champions. You can't add more champions. So yeah, but yeah, pretty solid build so far. I guess want to see a little bit more. But yeah.
So for our last, at least confirmed part, we'll talk about a few more things after this. But we have Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. CM Punk is getting his main event spot at WrestleMania confirmed after this Friday. Seth Rollins isn't happy about it. Roman Reigns doesn't really care, just kind of helped him out with it. However, it was a surprise to Roman that still wasn't the favor from Paul Heyman, and that he kind of did that thinking it was the favor, but it wasn't. So, I guess we'll see what happens from that. But this build happened, we've seen a lot happen at the Rumble, where obviously Punk takes them out, and then the beatdown from Seth after they're taken out, and Punk gets eliminated by Logan, obviously. And obviously there's the big favor that kind of stemmed from Survivor Series, where CM Punk helped Roman Reigns out at Survivor Series War Games, and helped his team come out on top and get the big win.
Yeah, I feel like this feud has been pretty good. The promos themselves haven't been, much to really gain from, but this has been pretty solid. I do like the fact that this favor is going to be the deciding, thing in this match. It just kind of feels like Roman Reigns is there only to have that main event spot. I guess this is the only way this match could have got one, because he did Seth and Punk again for the third time now at Mania. Wouldn't have had that same feel, so having Roman in there kind of adds a little bit of spice to it. But yeah, I like the idea of whatever this favor could be. I'm sure it'll be Paul Heyman helping CM Punk in some fashion. Should be interesting, but the match itself should be decent. At least we got Punk and Rollins in there to kind of hold a good match, and then Roman Reigns can do his Roman Reigns things.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a world where maybe we see Paul Heyman just turn on Punk, and CM Punk has this plan for a favor to come in, but it just doesn't happen because he just refuses to do it because it's Roman Reigns, and that's who he still wants to be with. But yeah, this has been a pretty good build. I've been having fun with it. It isn't what I wanted. I didn't really want CM Punk to main event. I think it would have been a better story to let him not main event and then just tell that story for the full year from now until next year. However, I don't really mind at all. I mean, it is what it is. It's three of your biggest stars, and it's CM Punk. You don't want to waste too much time with him, and potentially another injury or whatever else that may happen. But moving on to some different things, just these matches are unconfirmed. We don't really know what's going to happen, but the War Raiders versus New Day seems to be somewhat confirmed as of the Raw that just passed. So what do you think of what's going on with the Raw tag titles?
Yeah, it feels like this is kind of just a way to get the tag team champions on the show. I would kind of, like me and you were talking off camera, kind of do hope there is another team involved, but at the same time, I think New Day winning it, although they're heels now, it maybe kind of kickstart their feud again, or not feud, but their story of being heels, because I think this is their 7th tag team champion, so it would be a huge moment for the team, but the fact that it hasn't been built up and it's only 3 weeks away and we're kind of just now starting isn't great news.
Yeah, maybe we see something like the Creed brothers get pushed into here somehow, or maybe we see Grande Americano and Chad Gable team up here. But yeah, definitely not too interested in this one. Not too much going on. But moving on to our United States Women's Championship, we have potentially Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green. Maybe a Piper turn, and there's a Piper Chelsea Green or Alba. But potentially and more than likely, it's looking like Zelina Vega.
Yeah, this match, I'm glad that both women are getting a WrestleMania spot. Although I wish the story itself, could be a little bit moved more. It kind of just feels like, again, how can we get some people on this card? Here's two women that deserve a spot without a doubt. And that's kind of it. They haven't been doing too much TV time with them. They had like the little segments. But yeah, should be fun. Both of them, I really like both of them. So yeah, should be fun at the very least.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it'll be a fun match. Chelsea Green and Zelina are both good in ring, so there's definitely, I think this could kind of over deliver people's expectations for WrestleMania and kind of be a sleeper. Yeah, not too much to go on off of about here. But we have Lyra Valkyria coming up next, our Women's Intercontinental Championship for Raw. She's kind of been involved with a little bit of everybody. She's been involved with Raquel, where she's defended the title versus her. We've seen her defend the title versus Ivy Nile. She's had after defeating Raquel, she got a beat down from Liv Morgan, leaving kind of potential for her there. And then there was Bailey, who she's going to be facing next week. And then there's also Roxanne, who's kind of lingering around, and you don't really know what she's doing right now. So all these people are sort of involved in this women's IC title. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I feel like the best thing, and also kind of, although it's another multi-man match, it kind of feels like one that you kind of are forced to do yourself now, is Lyra, Bailey, Roxanne. Obviously, Roxanne and Bailey have that story, but also Roxanne has the history with Lyra. She beat her last year at Stand and Deliver for the NXT Women's title, now beating her hopefully here at Mania, giving her the Intercontinental Champion to be the second would be really nice and a huge moment for Roxanne, and especially since she'd be just officially on the main roster now, would be a huge moment to start her main roster career.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be awesome as well. And moving on to the United States Men's Championship, that is LA Knight. Obviously, he's kind of involved with kind of nobody right now, honestly. He's facing Braun Strowman, I believe, this coming Friday. Don't expect Braun Strowman to get the win here. But we do have the Rey Fenix and Aleister Black, well, potentially Aleister Black debut this Friday. Rey Fenix is confirmed, so that looks like, there's big potential there. There's also Jimmy Uso you could kind of put in this title picture. Carmelo Hayes, of course, could be thrown in there. But what do you think for our United States champion?
Yeah, I feel like for the United States champion, we're going to have at least one set of brothers celebrating at the end of the match, with either Penta and Rey Fenix or Jimmy and Jey Uso. I can see both of them being in this match. This could be another multi-person match. Maybe it's LA Knight, Aleister, Phoenix, and then Jimmy Uso. But if it's a one-on-one, probably Rey Fenix probably gets the best match out of LA Knight. Obviously, Carmelo Hayes would also be a nice person to be here, or Andrade as well. Yeah, just the SmackDown mid-card division is really weird because there's guys there, but they're not fighting for the belt right now, so it's kind of just diminishing what the title actually means, unfortunately. And the belt itself isn't getting any TV time, basically, at all.
Yeah, pretty much I agree with everything you said. But last but not least, before we wrap this up, we're going to talk about our Women's Tag Team Championship. However, whether it's going to be defended or not doesn't really matter to me. However, the big thing to me is, where does Liv Morgan go on this card? She is somebody who definitely deserves a spot on the card. I don't know if, maybe you could just last minute put together her and Alexa Bliss. Maybe you could do a tag team match with Alexa and Nikki versus her and Raquel, or maybe you just throw some other team in there with them. But what do you think is the direction for Liv Morgan or Liv and Raquel?
Yeah, for at least Liv, I think there's even a possibility that she gets put in the triple threat with Lyra, Bailey, Roxanne, because obviously, like you mentioned the week before, Liv had that segment where she kind of got involved with the Intercontinental Champion, so maybe they throw her in there just to get her on the card. But if they're going to be it's supposed to be a tag team match, I could see it being a multi-women's match as well, and have another showcase match like they did at 39 with the KC girls. You can have Alexa and Nikki potentially teaming up with each other because of the connection with White Six, and then have them defend their belts. But yeah, again, it just feels like Liv Morgan, unfortunately, after she lost the belt, it's kind of like, what else does she do right now? She can't go after Rhea again because you don't want to keep doing that. And Rhea's kind of the world title picture, so you can't put her in the world title picture, and she hasn't been featured enough in the Intercontinental Champion to be a real contender in that division as well.
Yeah, I think she'll be a big player in the post-Mania build. After Mania, I think she'll start going after some singles gold in some sort of division, whether that's a mid-card or above. But yeah, definitely excited for Liv Morgan's future and to see whatever she does on WrestleMania. But that is going to be the end of the video. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.